And welcome to Curious Mondo, where you conquer new possibilities. Are you ready to have fun? Because we are going to have a party today. Before we start, a few announcements. First of all, we are live, and always the main reason we are live is because we love your interaction with the people that we have here. So do use the chat box that is either beside or below the video so we can interact with the instructor. I'll ask questions when you send us one, and we'll go from there. That's a crucial part of the process because, you know, they really expect you to ask them stuff, right? Now, also share this with other people. It is free to watch, right? We are going to be here maybe for an hour or so. So tell your friends about it by using social media, all the buttons out there, or you go to your favorite social media platform, leave a comment there. Just have fun during this process and say, hey, come on over. Let me tell you more or less how it's going to work, because we never know 100% how it's going to work. So we have invited some Paverpol instructors to be here with us today. I think I'm going to start with Beverly, and some more will pop up during this show. Hopefully, we are having a few things like a big storm in South Africa that doesn't help. Then we have another instructor that is in the airport, so we may or not be able to talk to her. So everything that we plan never goes according to plan, but it's going to be fun no matter what. And we have a very cool tutorial to show you as well, and then an interview with Andrea Chen. Andrea Chen is the main importer of Paverpol in Canada, and as many of you know, Canada is really popular with Paverpol. It's one of the biggest countries for Paverpol, and they have tons of instructors and distributors, and she's been doing this for a while, so she's going to be talking to us, especially about the certification process, which is a possibility. Now, many of you are asking yourself, what is Paverpol? It's a textile hardener, and you are going to know more about it in a second. You will also maybe asking about why certification, because many people love so much to start sculpting or creating wall pieces with Paverpol that they decide they want to teach that, which is an amazing opportunity to create a second or main stream of income. And in today's world, you know, with all this talk about recessions and inflation and stuff, it might be an option for you to get a group together and have people coming. They love, I mean, they're going to tell you, the ones that have been doing that, how it is when they give classes and stuff. You really change people's lives with that. And one last comment before we go and talk to Bev is that we have a ton of interviews about Paverpol with students, with distributors. We have a show where we mix tutorials with some product talk about those products. The best place for you to go and watch all of them is on our very new channel on Roku. If you have a Roku device at your home, or you have a smart TV that has Roku with it, if you watch streaming services every night, you probably have that. You can look for Pitanga Network. We are going to write on the chat right now, Pitanga, P-I, let me see if I know how to spell that, P-I-T-A-N-G-A. Network. Pitanga Network is a little fruit in South America that is very powerful. And we would love if you could go there, and you are going to have really, it's up to hundreds of interviews about Paverpol alone, so don't miss that. Now, when you add the channel there, go back to the search the channel again, and please leave us a 5-star review there. It just takes really 1 second for you to do that, but it impacts how we show on Roku as a whole. So we would really be grateful if you could subscribe to the channel, add the channel, and then come back to the search, go to Pitanga Network again, and leave the 5 stars. It really takes a second. Okay, so let's see if I have my first guest here. Is Beverly there? Da, 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 da. Here you are.
I'm here, Shahar, I'm here.
You and your beautiful door behind you. I mean, this door is famous by now.
No, and whenever I see Johnny and I let her know how everybody is so excited about it, she just is so humbled by it. she's been able to garner a lot of business as a result of this store.
That's so good. So, Beverly, today, first of all, let me tell you a few countries that are watching us today. We have US, UK, Canada, Israel, Greece, Argentina, Ireland, Philippines, South Africa, Netherlands, Spain, and Egypt watching this today. Isn't that cool?
All the places I want to go.
Right, me too. So, Beverly, today, the reason for this party, of course, do you have your glass of wine near you there?
Well, it's early in the morning. I got
Yeah,
coffee.
I have water here too. The reason we are doing this is to be able to talk without the pressure of having a course and having to teach something. Talk about us, what we've been doing or not doing, are things going, and then give people a perspective of the possibilities by using this product. So I know you've been traveling a lot. How is life for Beverly right now?
Gosh, it's been interesting. The whole COVID thing has really, between moving and COVID and health issues, I have to say I'm kind of just starting to get back, find my groove again. Okay. And it was so inspiring to watch yesterday with Karen Baker. I really, really enjoyed that show. That was so good.
Awesome.
And it was so motivating as well, too. So I'm a bit of I've got a girl crush on Karen anyway.
Me too, she's awesome.
But it was so inspiring just to hear the evolution of what's happened with her business and that. And so it's really, I've been in this thinking mode, what's next? You know, what's this looking like next? And, you know, adjusting to the economy and all of that. So I'm in transition, I guess would be a good thing to say, is I'm in transition.
That's a good word because I do think we are all in transition right now. Some of us are aware of that and some of us are not. And like you said, the COVID part took us all out of center and of course had to make us do adjustments no matter whatever we were doing at that moment, personally especially, right? And now we have this new phase that it's not what we had hoped for, right? We have people spending money and everything, but we also know inflation and a recession coming, and it is going to come, we want it or not. So it requires us also to make changes even before we really feel what's going on. And this brings stability. And I've talked to many artists, of course, every day we talk to some artists, and we can see that with every single one, like every single one saying, okay, I'm making changes now. Sometimes I am aware of this transition, sometimes I'm not, but I feel that movement. So is that what you were trying to say a second ago?
Absolutely. I mean, in my physical space, I'm having to transition because I don't have as much room as what I used to have. And as well, what I'm really noticing in the couple of shows that I've already done this year, when I speak about taking grandma's treasures and turning them into an art piece, that seems to be really resonating with people. And I think I'm really going to try and focus on that as well as the whole reusable thing, because those are some of the best conversations that I had when I was able to have a conversation with people at the recent art walks and stuff. And so I have to kind of shift my focus a little bit.
But have you done art shows this year or classes or something like that?
Yeah, classes, number one, I'll speak into classes. Physically, I'm not able to do classes anymore. So I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to have this inventory with Curious Mondo.
Awesome.
I've been, part of my shift is to focus on promoting them. So I've even put the QR code my business card to give people quick access to it. So that's one of my shifts that I'm making. And then I was at an art walk just this last weekend. I've probably done about 3 or 4 this year, this summer type of stuff. And it's been really interesting. I'm feeling like I need to re-educate the people about who I am. And yes, I have art for your yard. And yes, it can be outside all year long and all of that. And, you know, where I had a good following and they were coming ready to spend the money because they knew me and they came back, and when they saw me again, they were ready. But now I'm having to reintroduce them, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. You know, my background is with TV, and that's exactly what happens, right? While you are on top of their minds, they come to you. But if for whatever reason you have to detach from that for a second, you have to redo things, because it's amazing how people forget, or, you know, it gets out of the mainframe of their mind, so they don't remember. Now, Beverly, one thing, I want to talk to Brenda in a second, but one thing that we have to remind people is that you really started all this new movement, we can say, with Paverpol. How long ago was your first course?
I think it was about 5 years ago already, Shahar, right?
Wow, that flies, that flies. And
No.
the funny part is that you talked to Nashla on the phone for something totally different, and she came to me and she said, there is this artist in Canada that has a textile art and she does this, this and that, and I got interested, and that really started something that for us here, for example, and I believe for the US, it has changed everything, right, with the Paverpol, because we were able to start promoting, and it all started with you and your first course here, which was a huge success.
Shahar, I often think about that. It was crazy how easy it fell into place. So when it did that, I'm like, okay, this is meant to be. And you took a chance on me, and I took a chance on you.
Right? Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. If you're all alone.
I had figured out in my head what I needed to do in order to just kind of break even that week. And little did I know, it's really humbling. And when I see the students' work that is happening around the world and the influence that we have had on the international market, I'm so humbled by it, Shahar. It's
amazing. Yeah, I'm happy too, because sometimes I'm thinking, wow, we are this, you know, small company in Utah, which some people always used to ask me when I moved here, why Utah? And look what we've done. I'm really proud of that as well. And you know, when you're not feeling that great, Beverly, you should remember that. Now, get ready, Beverly, to show some of your pieces. I'm going to call Brenda now that is with us, but I just want to remind every single person here, first of all, we are live, so if you have any questions to Beverly, to Brenda, do ask them. I hope we can talk to Brenda, because like I said, it looks like she has a storm there, which doesn't help with the internet. And remember that all of our Paverpol courses are on sale today for 30% off. So if you ever wanted to know more about Paverpol and start creating sculptures and wall pieces, you have to check that. You just need to scroll after the video and you will see all of them. Brenda, are you there? Hey, how you doing? We had a huge delay before, so let's, oh, there you go.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit, Brenda, how are things for you in the last few months, and what have you been preparing or working on? Yeah, and that's what happens. It's happening a lot that she's freezing, but we'll get that answer in a second. You know, while we wait for Brenda, why don't we learn more about Paverpol? Andrea Chen, which is the main importer in Canada, she was here in the studio a few months ago, and she has recorded really tons of tutorials and small videos about the products, because she really knows the ins and outs much better than we do. So she prepared one talking about Paverpol in itself. So let's watch that.
Hello everyone, I'm Andrea Chan from Paverpol, Canada, and I'm visiting Curious Mondo in beautiful Utah. The first thing I'm going to talk a little bit more about is the Paverpol liquid itself. A lot of people are not familiar in North America with the Paverpol product, and what it literally is a liquid polymer. So it's not any different than, I would say, the consistency is like paint, and it's absolutely glorious to work with because it's ACMI certified, which means it's a very safe product for children to work with. And I'm just going to demonstrate something to you, how safe it is. I actually just put a little bit of Paverpol on my hands, and literally it's so safe that you can just peel it off like this. And the beauty of this product is not only is it safe, it is outdoor worthy, which means anything that we work with this product, we can easily leave it outside and it'll stay outside for all 4 seasons. It can be rained on, it can be snowed on, it could be in direct sunlight, and it could be in the freezing cold, under ice, and it works extremely well with natural fibers. So Paverpol can be used alone, but what a lot of people do with the product is they work with natural fibers, which creates a lot of the sculptures that you may have seen with the outdoor garden art, such as the angels, the herons, etc. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about where the product comes from. The product has been introduced to North America through the Netherlands. So what happened in Netherlands, it was actually a happy accident. And in the Netherlands and Holland, there are a lot of parades. And originally with the parades, what happened was they were using paper mache. Paper mache, unfortunately, does not do well under weather conditions that are extreme. So it was just a happy accident that somebody created the Paverpol polymer liquid. And then they started working with natural fibers. And by natural fibers, we're talking about cotton, linens, silks, anything that is more natural. And what we really like about it is that with the natural fibers, because this is a polymer product, it just absorbs the liquid. And then with that liquid, we're able to easily sculpt with it. And then once it hardens, then what happens is it becomes outdoor worthy. And that's a little bit of the history behind the product itself. And it did start off in the Netherlands, and then it grew all over Europe. And finally, over the last decade, it's come to North America. And we have a nice following within North America right now. But it's a kind of a shame that not everybody knows about this product. So we thought we would spend a little bit of time today to go through the different sizes of the products, the texture, so that you can actually see more of it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the additives and the different effects that you can get through the Paverpol additives. Now, the first thing I want to show you is these 2 products are actually made, these 2 pieces are actually made from Paverpol. And this one is just Paverpol and Paverplast, very simple to make, and I'll do a little demo later to show you texture. And this one, this beautiful bug, was created by our own Nick here at Curious Mondo, and he did an absolute fantastic job. Okay. I think one of the things that people need to know also about the Paverpol product is the fact that the liquid itself, so let's start off talking a little bit more about the liquid itself. The liquid itself is the base of our product, and there are approximately 5 colors to it. And the beauty of 2 of the colors is that we can actually add and mix them together, but you get the same beautiful qualities. So the colors are, there's white Paverpol, there is peach color Paverpol, there is gray, black, bronze, and everybody's favorite is transparent. Now, again, with the transparent and some of the other colors, we can actually do additives to it, so we can change it using another product, which I'll talk about later on. Whereas you can, if you want hot pink, we can get you hot pink. If you want a beautiful red Paverpol to work with, we can do that as well too. Otherwise, with the transparent, if you have a silk piece of fabric that you want to use to create, a statue with, we can work with that as well too. Paverpol not only comes in the various colors I just described, but it also comes in different sizes as well. So we have the 250, and I would say the 250 you could would be the ones if you're just starting out and you just want to try the product itself. We have the 500. Now this 500 size would work really, really well, especially if you are just starting out and you want to make one of the larger statues that are like sitting behind me there. This would be absolutely perfect for this size. The next size that we do have is the 1000s. So the 1000. Okay, so the 1000 size would be fantastic to use maybe for 2 sculptures, sometimes 3 depending on your fabric, how much it absorbs, but at the same time what type of project you are doing. The next size that we have up are the 500s and the 5750s, and these are all in gram sizes, and they are the larger size ones, just right down here. Okay, so that those are the various sizes, and depending on what you're doing and what you need it for, these products, the liquid itself has to be stored like paint. It can't be in a cold environment. So what I have been telling people is with your Paverpol liquid storage, what you need to do is treat it like fine wine or treat it like paint, because you would never leave it outside in extreme conditions. You would want it to stay within an environment that is safe, dry, and does not freeze. Now, the other thing that we do is suggest to people, to rotate your products as well too. Like fine wine, you need to rotate your products, especially the larger buckets, just to give it a little bit of a stir once in a while. And if you actually are, storing it properly, these products should last you forever. It's very, very important to make sure that you try to keep the air out of it, and I'll show you a little trick later on what we do in order to make sure that there's no air in it. You need to make sure that the lid itself, you have to make sure that the lid itself is not full of hardened Paverpol so that you don't get the lid on properly. So make sure it's put on properly, and then store it like fine wine, and that's how you more or less keep your Paverpol. You can keep your Paverpol alive for as long as you need it.
It was so nice of Andrea to come here and spend some days with us, because her knowledge of the products is really good. Now, everywhere that you are in the world, you have access to Paverpol. The best way for you to know who are the distributors near you, they can help you with the products if you want to buy them, and also with in-person classes. You can go to paverpol.com, click on distributors, and you're going to get a whole list. There is somebody in your country that can help you. In the United States, you go to paverpolamerica.com, and you find everything that you need as well. You should really check, because it is a very fun journey. And you're going to hear more with Andrea later. Let's see if Brenda is here with us again. Let's see. Maybe you are. Hey, there you go, Brenda. So I had asked you.
Distributors, you're going to get a whole list.
Yeah, she has a delay again. There is a storm going on. But Brenda, I asked you about how things are going and what you have been creating. So can you let us know?
You should really check.
Let's see. There you go. Can you hear me now, Brenda? And while we wait, again, we have no control over the weather. Let's show some of the pieces that Brenda has made, because we have all of them here. So let's see the first one. And she has given several courses here, like the bug people, for example. Look at this cat. Ah, very cool. Amazing. The fairy. Who doesn't like a fairy? Oh, this was during a symposium that she taught here, and it's an amazing piece, so fun to make. I really like that one. Very good. So Brenda, let's try again, Brenda. Are you there? Can you hear us? know, it's so sad because, she is there waiting to talk to you. And if you hear us, you can go ahead and talk, Brenda. Maybe somebody in the
Yes.
control room can talk to her. Okay?
So COVID has definitely had an impact in the art arena generally, and it has been a bit of a problem to get back into the flow. I fortunately have managed to do a few classes, but not as many as I would have liked to by now.
That's good. What about creating? What have you been creating? There we go again. So sad. Let's wait a second and see if she can come back. And then I'll go back to Beverly. We need to show her pieces as well. Is it still frozen? I mean, of course it had to rain. It was the first rain in the sun. I didn't guess what happened when. But one interesting story is that Brenda actually, her first introduction to Paverpol was here at Curious Mondo. I think she watched the course, she bought the course, and she fell in love with that. So much so that she contacted the main company, which is in the Netherlands, and she became the distributor for Paverpol there. So she is also, like Beverly, a pioneer in this, right? Because she opened the new frontiers for people in South Africa to be able to take the classes. And, she became a distributor, and the next second, there's COVID, which didn't help. Just think about this. You're starting a new thing, but you're starting here a new business, right? And with a lot of commitment, because she's introducing a known product, which is not easy if you think. I mean, it would scare many, many, many entrepreneurs, because when you come into the market doing something that other people has done, it's kind of easy because you walk the same trail and you do your marketing and things start rolling, right? When you're introducing something that no one knows about it, well, there's a whole challenge in there. And she was also a pioneer and she said, you know what, I'm going to try this in South Africa. And there she goes, right? Even with the challenges the challenge of being an unknown product there and the challenge of getting the whole pandemic thing at the same time, she kept on going, right? And she used resources like the internet. I think she had some groups where she was able to teach to them over the internet. And then when that was over, she started giving classes. She has never stopped creating. And of course, in between, she was also giving some courses here at Curious Mondo, and which made a little bit easier for her to get the word out. Because, again, we here have done the same thing. We started with an unknown product being live, with all the challenge that you can see that happen every day in a format that people were not very used to, and we were able, and then we introduced, I think we like unknown things, right? Then we introduced Paverpol to a lot of people here in America, and she gave some classes to us. The Bug People really was one of my favorites that she gave here, but she has given the giraffe the last time. Everybody liked that. The poodle, like I told you. Actually, we have had many instructors from all over the world. We were so lucky to be able to have people from New Zealand giving tutorials on Pavercraft, from Greece. It's really amazing to see how we all have embraced the fact that we love this type of product because we know what can be done with it. And whatever medium you use, even if you're a fused glass artist, you can combine that, and that's amazing. I'm going to call Beverly again now, and just want to remind you, all the courses are 30% off today. All the Paverpol courses are 30% off today, and we have a ton of interviews with all the distributors and also students here, so you don't want to miss that. If you have a Roku device or a smart TV that has Roku, you just go to Pitanga Network. Of course, there's a fly here too, and watch all of them. Don't forget to give that 5 stars, but watch all of them. There are really hundreds now, and soon you will see more episodes of Pavercraft TV that we have in store for you. Beverly, are you there?
I am here, Shahar.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, it's good that you don't have any storms happening there. All right.
Bite your tongue, bite your tongue. It's clear
yeah,
skies, so we should
right.
be good.
Here is sunny and cold. Bree is saying, not a question for Beverly, but a big thank you. Beverly has been such an inspiration to me. I have about 8 Paverpol items in different stages of completion. Bree, you need to post those on our Facebook group, I Love Arts and Crafts. We want to see that. Mary is asking, I would like to know how to ask Bev questions while I am trying to get my certification done. Mary, I will answer that to you. If you're doing here in the United States, you can write an email to hello@curiousmondo.com, and we'll send it to Beverly, and she's super quick to answer. If you're doing in another country, then you have to go to your distributor. And Jane Meyer-Blows is saying, Beverly has inspired so many people. Are you aware of that, Beverly?
I am, and like I say, it's just so humbling when I see the work that fires through on Paverpol Peeps, and even just how big that group has grown. Like
The
honestly,
Paverpol Peeps on Facebook. Everybody should join that. Yes.
I know.
Have you seen?
I know. Yeah, it's
The whole world.
Yeah, we have the whole world. It's so.
And do you
I'm
have any
humbled.
pieces that you would like to show us?
I have a piece and I have a story I'd like to tell.
Oh, I remember those. Oh, you sold the first ones. I remember those. Yeah.
Oh, well, so the story is, you had asked me to come in on the fiber symposium, and I'm like, I haven't been doing anything. What am I going to make? What am I going to make? And then the war broke out in Ukraine, and I was just like, I wonder if I could make a sunflower. So I did a couple of them just to kind of prototype and test the ideas in my head. Because sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And so it worked so great. I landed up doing the recording for the classes, just finished putting that in the can, sending them off to you. And then I had an art walk that weekend right away. So I landed up taking 3 of them and putting 1 in a bouquet and 3 of them and putting them in a spray to hang on a wall or on a fence or something. So I went to the art walk so I finished broadcasting on Thursday, went to the art walk on Saturday. Within 5 minutes, I sold the spray for $175.
Not
and I'm
bad.
like, whoa, wait, yeah. Because the thing is not only have I generated an income by, getting the class done, but now I'm selling the art. And then the next day I go to do a fashion show at the gallery where I show at, and I took the bouquet there. Well, by the end of the day, the bouquet sold too. I'm like, woo! And then, so at the gallery, Lois, the curator, said, Bev, could you do some samples of some table centerpieces? And because we're doing a fundraiser, and we're thinking they might be kind of nice on the table type of stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So I did a small one. This was the big one. And then I did one just with the one large one, basically, right? And lo and behold, they ordered 40 of them.
Oh, are you kidding me? 40?
No, I'm not. Yeah. And so what they did is they paid me, my fee. And then what they did is they doubled it and they sold them to the businesses to be on the table centerpieces. And then they got to advertise, whatever company, the hairdresser or the salon donated by, and then they auctioned them off to the people sitting at the table. So my sunflowers raised over $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for the people coming staying in Alberta from the Ukraine. So
yeah, that's so cool to hear.
Yeah.
You know, Beverly, I always talk here, and probably the team is tired of hearing that, but even National and I, sometimes we have to remind ourselves how we impact people. Because on the day-to-day, we allow life to come. I mean, life comes, and some days are good, some are not. And with so much uncertainty always in front of us in the last few years, it is tough. It's not easy for anybody that I know. And we need to remind ourselves how we are impacting the world, because we are. You know, we don't realize that sometimes even by posting a picture of what we make changes people's lives, because they might be just in a bad mood that day and they see a sunflower, they see the bug like with Nick that Andrea was showing, and there's no way that you don't smile when you see those pieces, right? They're not just beautiful, they tell you something that you can not quite say. And then the other things, see, by you having the courage to go someplace and show your pieces, doesn't matter where it is, right? You trigger something that will benefit several families. How cool is that? So it's not like you start the day thinking, I'm going to help people in Ukraine, right? You went and you show a piece, and then the other person had that in mind, and it created this wave of change that will benefit other people. So I think the core thing is to understand that being at home, just hiding from everybody, that's never a good option. You know, just post on social media something, or go, and if somebody invites you to post your work someplace, you know, like we are going to have this weekend an art tour here in town, we are participating. We've been exhausted because we need changes happening, like you said, transition all the time. And at the same time, we have the Glass Symposium starting on Friday. So, I mean, we're overloaded. But we said, you know, we have to say yes first. And you say yes, and then you figure out the how. But you keep things in motion. And I think, Beverly, that's what you've always done. Like you said, you had health challenges, you moved to a smaller home, but all these things didn't keep you from moving forward, correct?
That's right. I'm stubborn that way. I've never been so proud to be Ukrainian as I have been through all of this, because they exemplify the stubbornness of who I am.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you have some Ukrainian blood on you. And there she goes. She went. See? There you go. You're back.
There we are. Okay. Yes, my grandparents immigrated in 1908 and 1912. My grandmother was 3 when she came, and
Wow.
my grandfather was 12. Yeah, and I think of them, you know, traveling across this country. I don't even know if it was on a train or a buck wagon type of stuff, but they never got back home again. I remember them reading letters from home, and they would read those pages till the words came off the page, because that was their only connections. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Sandy Ward is saying, Bev, that was definitely worth your yellow hands creating those sunflowers. And you know, they have always been one of my favorite flowers, because I think the sunflower first is beautiful when it's at its glory, right? But it's a flower that you see action happening, and it's not all that beautiful when you look at the stalk, right? You see, it has, for me, it has what beauty represents. It's not perfect. It's not perfect from bottom to top. It's perfect because it shines, it moves, it's yellow, right? But when you see at the flower, I have a neighbor that has a ton of them, and you keep thinking, well, in the morning, they're really ugly things as well. And that's what we all are. We have all those sides, and that's what makes it beautiful. Laura, I had a comment also about the heron. Laura is saying, the heron class of Bev was inspirational. What a lovely work of art. And remember, Beverly, we had to deal with concrete, and you had to bring stuff on the plane. Your husband was here helping. It was a lot of work, that one.
Oh my gosh. I remember Chase was just like, we're doing another video. And I'm like, and we were so good, we'd get them done in one take already type of stuff.
And you know, that heron that you left here is actually in the front door of one of my Airbnbs in Cedar City. And everybody comments on that one, and like everybody. It's amazing. So you're coming back. This time you're not coming back to the studio here, but we have a class scheduled for next year, correct?
As soon as we can figure out what I'm making, Shahar.
Shh, you don't tell people that we schedule that without knowing. Come on.
I'll figure it out. I always do.
I know, and it's going to be exciting. We have a question here. So the how to create indoor-outdoor sculptures class, is that the intro one?
The introduction one is the one with the beginner class. I think that's the one. Yeah.
Yes,
that,
where we have the seating lady, which I'm looking at her from the other
Yeah.
side of the studio. Yes. That was a
Yeah.
very fun class. Yeah, that was super fun. And then we created the one standing. And I think after that, we started the certification, if I'm not wrong, which has been updated, has a lot of new stuff inside. So if you guys are
Yeah.
already certified, you should go back and look. We have a ton of new stuff there. Don't forget that if you're interested either in Paverpol or in getting a certification yourself, and Andrea Chen will talk more about that later, you can go to paverpol.com, click on distributors, and then you will be able to find somebody in your country. Here in the US is paverpolamerica.com, and you find that as well. Even at Curious Mondo, you find about the certification. Which is something that, if you're thinking about giving classes, is a must. I know, Beverly, you're not giving classes in person at the moment, but tell us about your experience by teaching.
Oh, teaching was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and the thing about teaching as well too is just to watch people experience the product. And I know that beginner class that I have done for you, Shahar, is probably the best class I've ever done, because I'm strictly teaching. I'm not helping other students work on their pieces. And there's a lot of time where, I'm just chatting and giving extra information, as opposed to, again, being distracted, helping another student do their piece. But that beginner class, it gives such a good foundation of everything, of where to start. And I'm very proud of the work that we did there. The teaching was so much fun. I was thinking this morning, because I knew what we were doing here today. And I remember a lady that was at my class, and she had the best day ever. And then 2 days later, she got murdered by her husband, type of stuff. And I know. So that was the last time she was with her girlfriends, and they so enjoyed it. We landed up making a heron, but we did it in kind of ghostly colors type of thing, because that was the next thing they wanted to do, was to make a heron. And she never got to do it. And so we have an impact on people's lives with these classes. And it's so fun, because people say, oh, I could never do that. But with this process, and that was one thing Josephine was just very clear to do, was to set up a process that anybody could do it. And that's the one thing that I'm very proud of when we did that beginner class, is we kept that process. We give you a really good foundation. And even if you're teaching, whether you're doing that class or teaching in person, you give people that opportunity to use their hands and try something different. And it's really gratifying when you see that happen. And I had lots of students come back time and time again, to do this one and then do that and then do that. And I laugh at Bree now with the 8 pieces, on the run. So we're having that type of an impact, worldwide type of stuff now. So I think it's really great.
It's very cool. I mean, even if they go to an in-person class and they have one good day, a real good day, which they do. And you mentioned the fact of people saying, oh, I could never do that. And I think that's the one thing Paverpol is great about, is that in other mediums where I want to create a sculpture, and by the way, this is the piece that you achieve by getting the basic class, it's the fact that you're not working with a medium that your hands need to be used to sculpt whatsoever. So in this case, for example, Beverly used wire for the armature and a t-shirt for the rest. So when she's saying that everybody can do this, yes, they can. Because again, it's not going to require you to have experience on anything. And that's one thing I like about Paverpol, is the fact that I can work with any type of material. and turn into a sculpture that will be admired and bought by people. And I can work, in my case, I can work with fabric. Look at the heron. This is an amazing piece, and I don't remember how many feet it had, Beverly. It's big. I would say it's close to 5 feet tall, the one we have here with us.
Typically 4.5. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at that, it was such a fun moment here. This is the second class that you gave here, right? Am I correct? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's basically the sitting lady that, so that was just
That's
a
a
little bit
variation.
of a
Uh-huh.
variation of the beginner class kind of. Yeah. So it's kind of a blend between the second and the first.
That's very
I
cool.
had forgotten about her.
Yeah, we have tons of stuff. Do you have another picture from Beverly's work? No. So you see that anybody can really do this. This one, remember, Bev, it was, I was doing the pin loom class with Sarah Scott, and this is one that was supposed to be a coat that never happened, and we decided to add that, so it's yarn. Very cool. What I was going to say about the heron, Bev, remember that we had in-person a class at the same time with some of our Mondo makers here in town, and they were in a different spot that we have now, but they were making at the same time you were teaching on camera, and then you would run across the street to talk to them and back to the camera. That was a lot of work too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, so much fun. So much fun. It was so good to meet everybody as well too. So,
Yes.
but on the herons, I just want to show you, I am doing a custom one now. Remember I was saying I wanted to do custom. And so I don't know if, maybe I can pick it up.
Let's see.
It's right
It's not
beside
too
me.
oh, it's a big guy.
It's a big guy, yeah. So I'm doing it in the really light grays. And then this lady has given me table linens to incorporate them. So I'm going to use these on the wings. And
That's
I've got an
beautiful.
idea in my head. I have an idea.
That's all we need, is the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you talked about this, and I remember once we were talking about doilies and getting stuff from your family and using them, and how you can really keep a legacy and giving another purpose to things, which this product is also very cool, very cool. Actually, have you seen I think it's called squids that Nick did with the doilies? Have you seen those?
Yes.
They are gorgeous.
Yes.
We have here
Nick
in
was
the studio.
so inspiring. I have to show you you don't mind me showing off some work, right?
I want you to. You did
So
the mushrooms.
I know.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to go, I'm switching things. Like I say, I'm kind of going back to basics a little bit. So that was one of the things that I did as a result of Nick. And this is how things happen as well, too. I watched how he did the wings on his bug, and I'm like, I landed up trying something different for my wings on this gal as well, too.
Beautiful.
And I'm super, super pleased with how that turned out.
What material did you use for the wings?
That's a silk. It's a silk, and
Wow.
it turned almost transparent. So I'm
Really happy.
I got ideas. I've got ideas running in my head. And then Nick with his terry towel, like, look at that.
Uh-huh. Oh, look at,
And that's
well, he's watching, right? Because we know he's right here. Oh my gosh, see? And
Yeah,
again, see,
yeah.
you not only impact people's life, you inspire people, right?
Yeah. And so I don't know if you can kind of see, I've got a bit of like an ombre look happening on her dress.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm hoping to do on the heron.
Oh, nice. I like
Head
that
will
very
work, so
much.
we'll see.
That's so good. And Brie gave an idea here. You could even use your family jewelry in your Paverpol sculpture. See, it's really important because some pieces, they talk to us, but sometimes we don't know what to do, so we leave them in a box. Much better if you can repurpose them into something that will be people will look with admiration, and you know there is a piece of your family there. Beverly, any final words? We are going to watch a tutorial next, but I want, before you go, to give you the stage here for a second. And how can we get more people to embrace this journey with Paverpol?
Oh, you know what? My thought is just try it. Just try it. Order a bucket, get a class, and play with it. And I think you will be so inspired. I know when I do my art walks, I'm, and I talk about how I can dip fabric in it, I can paint it, I can add texture, I can make a clay with it. I don't know of any other product that is that versatile. And I mean, even if you look at the suite of classes you have available here at Curious Mondo Shahar, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing as to even just what you have in the inventory there. So, yeah. Give your heart a feel-good moment and just try it and see. I think you'll be really, really surprised.
Very cool. Thank you so much for being here, Bev. I really love every minute I spend with you. You are inspiring to me, and I hope you keep creating for a very, very long time, and enjoy the trips too. I know you were in a good moment for that, but don't forget to create. See, just these last two pieces that you show, they are amazing. Now, I have here for you a tutorial by Dwight Sanders. He's in Newfoundland, Canada, if I'm not wrong, the place that was hit by the hurricane a few weeks ago. And it was a huge success. Now, this tutorial was part of our Pavermondo series, where we interview most of the instructors, most of the distributors around the world. So there are several of them. And again, if you go to our Roku channel, Pitanga Network, you will be able to watch all of them as many times as you want, as well as the Pavercraft series, where we had a lot of distributors and students, because we want with that show to bring all levels of expertise. So for example, Memory Bradley created an amazing spider, which is perfect for this time of the year. We have Liz Bonzer, we have Gwen Nicholson, we have, I forgot, Maria from Greece. I mean, tons of people that you will love to know, to get to know. For example, in Greece, there is a store that you can go and take the classes there with her. So go watch on our Roku channel, Pitanga Network, all the series. And then if you're close to one of those countries, or if you live in one of those countries, paverpol.com will give you the right address and ways to communicate with them. Most of them give in-person classes. And the ones that don't, they also have classes here with us, right? Like Liz Sincere, Liz Bonzer, Annette. So you have amazing, amazing artists that have courses here at Curious Mondo. And again, they are all discounted today at 30% off. And you will see that every single artist, even though they use the same product, the styles are totally different. And one will appeal to you more than the other, and then you say, okay, this is going to be my mentor, or I'm going to go mixed here. I like this style and I like that style, and I'm going to go with both. That's okay, because you're only going to learn more. And if you ever feel like this is a thing that you can do and teach other people, the certification is here for you as well. In every single country where there is a distributor, there is the possibility for you to be certified. So get in touch with them, or here with us at Curious Mondo, and we can guide you on that journey as well. And you're going to love it, because again, since it's not a new product, it's been around for quite a while, but it's still new to people, right? And that's an important thing. And so when you post this in tours, in galleries, in bazaars during the end of the year, people stop because they cannot believe. Let's face it, if I tell people this is a t-shirt, no one believes this, right? They want to see. And then you say, I can put this in a garden, and then that's when it's mind-blowing, because, it is mind-blowing, and people love that. I would also like to thank Brenda for being here. I mean, there are things we cannot control, and weather, internet is some of them. Oh, you're there, Brenda. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome,
I've moved
awesome.
to the kitchen.
See, it's always like that. Brenda, I had
And
asked you a question you didn't have a chance to answer, so go ahead.
all right, so the pandemic wasn't very kind to South Africa, and we are still struggling to recover from it. So it hasn't been too easy for me to actually carry on giving in-person classes, and even selling the product has slowed down enormously.
And there's a cat.
But I, yes, there's a cat. There's lots of them. I am the mad cat lady. I have managed to do some in-person classes since the pandemic has passed, and I still really, really love doing that. It's probably my favorite thing in the whole wide world, is
Oh.
seeing the light go on in somebody's eyes when they have arrived there saying, I just need to warn you, I'm not at all creative. There's not an artistic bone in my body. And
Oh,
then they
not
leave
true.
with a stunning sculpture. It is the most amazing. I absolutely love that.
That's so cool. Do you have any new pieces around you to show us?
I had to bring some downstairs quickly from upstairs when I moved to the kitchen. So,
Okay,
I
so your
can show you.
next course is going to be in the kitchen then.
It looks like it. So I just wanted to show you this because you were saying about how
Oh.
your courses influence people. Well, this one is obviously influenced by Lee Sincere. The
Huh?
technique using the tinfoil to make, I think it was her crinoline lady.
Uh-huh.
I just took that idea and ran with it to make the coat that flies out. And then obviously one of the beautiful Paverpol products is the Paver Scrub, which makes it look
True.
like granite. And I
True.
absolutely just adore how this
Yes,
turns
it's
out.
gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I
And
love the purse going
obviously,
around.
sorry.
I love the purse going around, you know, the purse moves
Oh,
that she's
yes.
carrying.
It was also part of the class that Liz gave. But as you were saying, each artist takes the product and runs with it in their own unique way.
Mhm.
I, previous to starting with Paverpol, I played a lot with polymer clay. So I had to find some way that I could incorporate my new love with my old love and make it a
Uh-huh.
brand new love. And so I incorporate Paverpol with polymer clay in a lot of my sculptures. Here's one of them.
Oh,
She's
look,
my
it's
most recent one.
on top of a
Now,
bottle,
this
right?
obviously, yes, coming out of a wine bottle. As you can see, it is a very particular vintage. It's the Mudcraft Merlot, 1962. That's the year that I
Nice.
came into the world. I would make that theirs as well. So this is obviously inspired by Karen Baker, but then using the Paverpol, instead of making the soft body, using the Paverpol technique with Paver wrappers and a little bit
Uh-huh.
of lace, and
Nice.
just combining my two great loves.
That's very good. And and another one, let's see.
I just wanted to show this one as well because
Oh.
something about this that I think is really special is the bench.
Uh-huh.
Now, the bench looks like wrought iron,
Yes.
but it is Paverpol lace.
Are you
Isn't that
kidding
the
me?
most amazing? You just take
Wow.
lace, dip it in some black Paverpol, and you have wrought iron. I absolutely love it. So
You
this,
know,
again, this is
I
my,
think Nick in the other room is just going crazy because now he can create furniture with lace. Wow. Amazing,
absolutely.
Brenda.
And
This is
within,
awesome.
the most difficult thing about creating the bench was making the structure, which I made out of wire, but I had
Uh-huh.
to solder it. Nick will have 1,000 hours more experience in that than me, so I'm sure he'll do it a lot better than I did. But there we go,
Wow.
he has an idea now.
Okay, let's see if it works today here. Wow, that was awesome, Brenda. I think that was awesome. What an idea to
Thank
create
you.
furniture with lace. Amazing, amazing. And do you have any in-person classes coming up, either the end of this year or beginning of next one?
I don't have any scheduled at the moment, but I have recently gone into partnership. Well, not partnership, but I have got an agreement with the most amazing studio They're called Potted Glass Studio, and they do pottery and glass mainly.
Oh,
But
nice.
they've said that they would love for me to come and do some in-person classes with Paverpol there. So
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
really excited to do that. I have given the owners of the place, we did a Paverpol creating crowns for Women's Day. So they now know what the product is like, and
Uh-huh.
we will be doing some really cool classes there soon, I hope.
Oh, that's ideal, right? Because then you tap into somebody else's studio that already has an audience there. That's fantastic. Yeah, and Brenda, we need to schedule a class for you for next year as well. I'm impressed. I follow you on social media, as you well know, and I've seen you since the beginning. And I have to say, every time you post something new there, I go, wow, you know, you can see how things are developing, and I'm very happy about that. And just 2 days ago, we were talking about places we wanted to go next year, and you know that South Africa is big time in my bucket list. And I said, and Brenda even has an Airbnb there, so we can go and stay around her as well.
You are absolutely welcome. Come, come, come.
Oh, I'm trying, believe me. I'm trying. South Africa is
also-
really a place that I want to know. It's a beautiful place. And that's the other thing that people need to consider. I would do a tour knowing every single distributor, because you could go stay a few days with Brenda in South Africa, and then you could go and stay a few days with Beverly in Canada, and then, you know, and you could just go. Don't you think that's a good idea, Bev?
I agree.
And you see all faces. Say it again.
The exciting thing about that is I recently read that Paverpol is now in 43 different countries, I think.
Look at that.
It's 43 or 47, but it's a lot. So that's a lot of places you can go to.
Oh, yes.
And if you go to Canada, you've already got a whole bunch of places you can go to before you even go to the other 46 countries.
You go from one point of the country to the other. Yes, they have tons there. And I heard that one of the newest distributors is actually in Portugal, which is again in my bucket list. So yeah, maybe I should organize a tour around everybody with Paverpol. What do you guys think? We would take the crowd with us. All the Mondo makers and the village. That would be awesome.
It's a brilliant idea. I want to join you.
Yes, let's do it. Brenda, Bree wants to know if the ghost person is stay on the bottle. That's where she lives.
Yes, what I did was I actually put some sand in the bottle, and then when I made the ghost, I made the wire very long so that it can go all the way down to the bottom of the bottle, and I put plaster of Paris in to make sure that the wire wouldn't move, so she can't get off. She's
Nice.
incorporated as part of the bottle.
Do you happen to have any of the bug people with you? They are my favorite, especially the one that lights the tail. Is awesome.
They're upstairs at the moment, so I could fetch them, but in the meantime, I can show you
No, it's
another
okay.
one that I made that lights up
Oh, let's go for it.
to make it look like it's metal. But
And
she's been to make it look like it's metal. But
And
she's been called out from her bed, so she has
Oh.
rollers in her hair.
She's more of an old lady. I cannot see the face. Is she kind of an
she's
old lady or a
young.
young one?
No, she's a young one. It's just that she has to be beautiful in the morning, so she
Yeah.
has these rollers in her hair. I don't know why I decided to do that. It just happened. And then
What did you use for the dress?
Okay, this is not altogether hard. It is, what do you call it? It's like a netty type thing. I can't think of the name right now. But the Paverpol, even though it hasn't made it completely hard, it helped it to drape properly. But I wanted something transparent so that you can see her gorgeous lace panties.
Awesome. Awesome. Very
So there we
good.
go, another light up one, not just my lightning bug.
That's amazing. Well, Brenda, thank you so much for going through the hardship of getting the internet to work here with us. And I also want to thank you for being a pioneer and opening this new field in South Africa for Paverpol. I know It's not easy to start a business, especially in the first 2 years. It's a hard journey for anybody that starts a business. And thank you for being there and trying, and now being able to go to other people's studios and to teach. Any final words to our audience?
Okay, first of all, I just need to remind Bev that it's all her fault that I do this. If it wasn't for her, I would never have ended up even knowing about Paverpol. Same to you, Bev. I am so grateful that I saw that first class of hers. She has created a genuine addict. There's no other word for it, and I'm so, so grateful. So my final words would have to be, this is such a wonderful product. There are so many additions to the product that you can use that changes the whole nature of it. So people need to go out there and just do it. It is such fun. Like I said, with my in-person classes, when people leave who have said they have no artistic ability, they've all created something that they are absolutely proud of. So it's very easy to do it. Anybody can be an artist with Paverpol. It just lends itself to great creations. Go out and do it.
Exactly. Go out and do it. We need to get our hands on the product and start saying. So again, both of you, thank you so much for being here with us, to overcoming a few challenges. But I think you both have the mission to inspire other people, and we can see that. Plus, your pieces are adorable, all of them. I love all of them. I wish I had more time to try more Paverpol. I've done a few pieces, but stuff gets in the way all the time. But let's keep doing, like Brenda said. So thank you so much. And for you here right now, you're going to watch Dwight Sanders. So like I said, he's in Newfoundland in Canada, where he can watch whales all day long. I'm so jealous of that. But this tutorial was a huge hit when we show at Pavermondo, and I think you're going to love it. 5 or 6 different pieces. I have a big whale, a small whale. I'm trying to look at them. I have several that I use that because it's fun, it's easy, and the end result is so pretty that you're going to love this. We really had people talking about this tutorial forever after he gave that. And right after Dwight Sanders, Andrea Chen will be with you talking a little bit more about this adventure that is Paverpol. You don't want to miss that either. She's so fun. They're telling me not to move too much. Okay. I like to follow everything that I'm told to do. So anyway, you're going to watch Andrea Chen talking about Paverpol and the certification as well. We have a ton of tutorials recorded, made by Andrea Chen, and we will be releasing soon on Pavercraft TV. We are preparing new content to go to the Roku channel as well. So you're going to know a lot more about her. She usually doesn't give classes or anything like that because she takes care of all the distributors in Canada, and that's a lot of work. And she also takes care of the certification in Canada, which is also being updated and things like that. Again, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you just heard Brenda say 43 different countries for you. And even if you might not be in one, there is one close to you. Go to paverpol.com for that. To know more about the products in America, paverpolamerica.com and curiousmondo.com for the certification. Either or will guide you in the certification. But don't forget, all these amazing people, and they are amazing. And they have courses here at Curious Mondo. Like I said, Liz Bonza, Liz Sincere, Annette, Holiak, of course, Brenda Helfrich and Beverly Oliwa. They all have courses here at Curious Mondo that are at a discounted price today. And you have several to choose from, even all of them if you want, if you're going to start a career. I have to tell you that if you decide to go for the certification, Beverly's basic and intermediate course are included into that. So you can get the certification and you will have those 2 courses, but then you can choose others as well. Because again, it's amazing. And even if you already have the certification, I would suggest you go back to the student area because a lot of things have been added to that. When Andrea was here, we did an update. We talked about, to make it more concise with all the world. We want everybody to enjoy the same no matter where you are. There is no competition here. So we can work together to make this even better and empower more and more artists. I mean, beautiful story that Brenda said about being inspired by Beverly, and wonderful story that Beverly told you about the sunflowers. I mean, we can and we should impact the world, and it doesn't matter where we are in the world, how small we think we are powerful people because we can create with our hands, and we need sometimes to remind us of these things a lot, right? Because we get bombarded with bad news all the time, but we are better than that. We can change, we can help, we can inspire, we can make people smile. And you have that power in your hands every time you create something, and it doesn't matter what is the medium that you use. You are doing that. You are making this world a better place. We don't need to be big figures, famous figures. We don't need to be politicians. We just need to be us and do what we love a little bit every single day. That's all we need to do. And then remember to show that to other people. Don't keep a secret. Keeping secrets is not good. Not good for you, not good for business, not good for anything. Show. You have social media, it's free. Go there and post a bunch of pictures there and inspire more people. So let's watch, and I'll see you back here again I'm not going to see you on Friday, but Nashla will, with the beginning of the Glass Art Symposium. It's going to be fun. We have a ton of good instructors all working very hard to bring you the best in the next 10 days. And that's it. And I'm gone at least for a week. That's good. I need a break. Watch now Dwight Sanders and then Andrea Chan. And I'll see you back here next time. Now, Dwight, you have prepared a demo for us, right? A quick demo. Tell us a little bit about what we are going to learn.
So what you're going to see is what I call my rough metal technique. I'm going to try to put this so you can see it. I like to work with things that resemble metal. I am not a welder, but I love the look of it. So this is a larger piece that you can actually see it on. And when people do come to shows, that's the first thing that attracts them. They say, oh, it's all metal. And then you'll give them the piece that's often very lightweight for them to pick up. And then it's like they start examining it and they'll say, well, what's it made of? And if I say to them, oh, it's made from a bed sheet, they look at you and it's like they are amazed. So it's, your imagination can just go wild.
I can see the face has a lot of texture, so that's the bed sheet?
Yes, that's a bed sheet.
Wow.
And I use a lot of sand in my work as well. So this is made with 3 products. You have your Paverpol, your Paverplas, your Art Stone, and then the last of the finer texture is made with the Parva sand.
Beautiful. Is this the type of whale you see on your
Yes, it's a whale. I'm too close to be able to.
Yeah, when
him.
you showed that in the studio, I actually thought it was a small piece. It's quite a large one.
No,
Gorgeous.
it's quite big. Yes, and the piece that was on the table when we were looking at the studio, it's a different piece. That one is probably about 4 feet long.
Wow, that's so good. Okay, so let's watch that demo.
For Dwight's rough metal technique, the supplies you'll need is a jar for your Paverpol. I'm using black Paverpol. You will need a wide container to catch the sand. You'll need stir sticks, a spoon, and a 1/2 inch brush. A couple of them will be good. A spatula if you want. And you will need 1 to 2 teaspoons of Paverplas, a cup of Paverpol, 1 to 2 teaspoons of Art Stone, and you will need 1 to 3 teaspoons of Parva sand. You'll need acrylic paints. I will be using black, metallic green, and metallic copper. I will start by painting all of the masking tape that is on my project with black Paverpol. I liberally apply it with the brush. You don't want it to be drippy, but you do want to have plenty on there to coat your project. This is going to act as a base to apply the rest of our products to. If there are any parts of the masking tape that's not quite stuck at this time, once it starts to dry, you can just press in on it and press it down so that it will stay in place before we apply the next layer. You just need to give it a quick coating all over. I usually apply from the bottom first and then do the top last. It's not important that everything is covered, but try to apply as much as you can evenly. That will need to dry until it's dry to the touch. And when it's dry to the touch, you can then add to your Paverpol a teaspoonful of Paverplas. Give it a good mixing. The consistency that we're looking for is approximately the same as what a very heavy milk would be. So I have time forward, and we now have the Paverpol completely dried, and I'm happy with the consistency of my Paverplas in here. If you find it's not quite thick enough, just go ahead and add another half a teaspoon. Again, I'm going to apply from the bottom. This time I want to make sure that it is completely covered. And we're just about there, just a little bit more to apply. And that completes it. So again, we will let it dry until it's just about completely dry. It has to be dry to the touch. So once it's been dried, I'll speed things up and show you an example. It will be a little bit rough, but not like it was when we applied the Paverpol at first, but it's ready to take the next layer. So to my Paverpol Paverplas, I am now going to add some art stone. So approximately a teaspoon right now is what I'm going to add to my jar. And we're going to need this to resemble cottage cheese, basically. So that was not quite enough, so I'm going to add a second teaspoon. This is feeling much better. You want a little bit of lumps in it to give the texture on the sculpture. Just scraping down from the sides. And as you can see, kind of like cottage cheese. So I am going to apply it with a brush. You can go ahead and use a spatula if you want. I have kept the consistency a little bit more runny. I don't really want too heavy on here. It's a small project. If it was a larger project, I would make it much thicker than what this one is. And as you can see, I'm not really brushing it on, I'm kind of dabbing it on. And it's flowing quite nicely. And as I get up where the tail is, I will apply a little bit less, and making sure I've got everything covered. There we go. Now we need to take our container. Well, this is still wet. And our parmesan. So what I normally do is put it over a container that's going to catch what will fall. I don't really, and I'm kind of just shaking it on. I'm not being precise with anything. And it doesn't need to cover everywhere. You just want some texture and roughness on it. So I've been doing about a half a teaspoon at a time, so I'm pretty close to about 3 teaspoons totally. Now I'm just going to take my fingers and pat it in, just so it will stay. As you can see, there is shiny spots still on there, and that's intentional. Okay, so now we'll let this dry. And when it's dry, we want to let it dry completely. And when it is, we'll paint everything black. The parmesan and the Paverpol may not be the same color, so I'm just going to give it a quick little paint all over with black paint. Get that Paverpol all the way. And we're good. So normally I would let this sit for a few hours until it's completely dry. And when it is completely dry, then I will do my highlighting on it to make it look more like metal. I'll take a fresh brush for this, and I'm going to apply my bronze or copper, whatever you have on hand. And just take it and dab some of it off. It's not dry brushing. So we're just going to take some dabs randomly and apply it all over. With lots of spaces between. Happy with that. Now, I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just going to dry it a little bit. Go right into the green metallic. Do the same thing. Brush off the excess. Just go in, make some little overlapping if you wish. You don't want a lot. A little goes a long ways. If you're not happy when it dries, just go back and apply whichever color you would prefer to have a little more of, or if you need both of them again, just go back in and do that. Sometimes I mix the both together, especially for the bottom, just a little bit darker. And I'm quite happy with this. So again, we'll let it dry completely, and when it has dried completely, then you can go ahead and you can put a shellac on. I personally prefer to put on a shellac that's got quite a shine to it. So this is what they will look like when they are completed.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, simply gorgeous. They are awesome. Wow, I was like, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Very cool. So a question that you might have is, why do I need to get certified with Paverpol? We all know that when you start playing with the Paverpol products, a whole new world opens for you. But why be certified? And I have here Andrea Chan from Paverpol Canada, and you're going to answer that question. Why get certified?
You know, I have to tell a little story about myself and my certification. And I took my certification about, I would say, about 7, 8, 9 years ago. And my dad had just passed away. And I was, it was about 2 weeks after my dad passed away that I did my certification course. I was so enamored by the product, I always thought I was not an artist. And it's, even today, it's hard for me to say I'm an artist. I'm getting better at it, but I never saw myself as that. And what I found with the product, and for us to share with people, is usually with other art projects that we do, it usually takes a long time to finish it. So if I went to learn how to paint,
right,
it would take me a very long period of time. And at that time, I was a full-time working mom, 2 kids. I was in a senior role in corporate, and the job was, it was high pressure. And I had, a big staff that worked for me. And so it was a real pleasure for me to find something that me, as I thought, not an artist, that I could actually do and complete within one day. I was hooked. Yeah. I was really, really hooked. And so I took my certification about 2 weeks after my dad passed away. And when I took my certification, that was like a highlight in the sense that it was art therapy for me. I was engrossed in what I was doing. I was loving what I was doing. And I found that I really, really needed it at that time. And I had no idea. And so my love of sculpting, Paverpol sculpting, just kept growing. It just kept going. Yeah.
Now, I understand you had some very defining moments when you made that decision. But you could have taken a lot of courses and be at that, to have the same fun and even the same passion surfacing. But why the certification? Because I see it's almost a step up, right? You take some courses, you get in love with the product, but then you decided certification. Why?
So for me, it was what it gave to me personally. It was a very personal decision, but it gave me that, I don't know what the word is, but I was proud with whatever I created. And I was astonished that I was able to create anything. And I just couldn't believe that I could have accomplished that. And so for me, what I wanted to do was to give back. The fact that it gave me this joy and this confidence and the proudness, I thought, if I could give that back to other people, that's what I'm going to try to do. So in a sense, it was almost giving back. And it was the right decision to do because with the number of students that I have, as well as, the number of repeated customers or students that I have, I have had students that have taken like 10 or 12 courses, workshops with me. Some of them have even repeated workshops. and some of them have even become Paverpol instructors. So what thrills me the most is when I have a student walking in saying, I'm not an artist, I can't do this. And they're so deflated. And I remember the one time a woman came in and she goes, I'm only here because my girlfriend brought me here. I don't know what we're making. I'm not talented, you know. And I was like, okay, well, anybody can be an artist. And trust me, you're not going to believe that you really are an artist and how well you're going to do. Well, that one lady walked out and couldn't believe what she had made. And she was so proud of herself. And she kept taking classes. And one day I met up with her at one of the large outdoor art festivals, like a really huge one. And she came up to me to say hello. And then she gifted me a mug with a little bird on it. And she said, Andrea, I wanted to give you this mug because it reminds me of the first little workshop that I did with you. And so as soon as I saw it, I thought of you. And she went out of her way to buy me a little mug.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was really heartwarming. It really was.
I bet it is. And you brought two very good points here. One, the false belief that we cannot create, that we need to be given some special talent, right? And you're going to explain more why that is not true. We can all create beautiful things. But the second and most important point is the chance to impact other people's lives, right? I think we live in an interesting time in history, right? Where sometimes we are very isolated, by choice or not. And our self-esteem kind of goes down when we think we cannot impact, we cannot change other people's lives. But as you just explained, by being certified and being able to teach, you can totally change somebody's perceptions of themselves and, even their lives, sometimes even their financial life, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. For myself, it wasn't a financial incentive to become certified. It was more, I think, more of a spiritual giving back, but absolutely.
And a healing, right?
And it was absolutely healing. But at the same time, I have had so many people come up to me to talk to me about retirement. So not only do they absolutely love what they're doing in the product and the techniques, but they are now planning ahead.
Yes.
And they're planning ahead and they're going like, okay, I love doing this. I want to share this. And I see a business opportunity for myself that not only can you do it from your home, so here's a really good example. If your kids have left home and they're all grown up and you're retired, you can actually take one of the bedrooms or in the basement and create your own home studio, right? And then from there, word of mouth. A lot of it is word of mouth. I mean, there's other things that people have done where, it's community festivals and fairs that they can do and so forth. And they're very inexpensive to sign up and have a table there. But I mean, the product sells itself and the workshops do sell themselves because all it really takes is you just go to a community festival fair, one of the Christmas shows. You set up that table. You don't need anything fancy. You set up that table, you put a tablecloth on top of it, and then you put your statues there. And then you might even have a little sign to say, you can make this in one day. And that really grabs people when we talk about one
That's a very
day.
good tip.
It's a very big thing to have that one day because a lot of people, it's not only retired people that want to do this, it's people that don't have a lot of time. Say it's a mom who is running around with soccer practice, piano practices, but there is always that one day of me time. And they can easily join one of your classes, one of your workshops for one day, and they can, from beginning to end, create a beautiful statue. And they are just going to love it. But it's that me time. So it's reaching out and doing things like that that people can do. And for I mean, almost everybody out there, most families it's dual income. So there's two people out there working all the time, and there's not a lot of time to sit there and go like, okay, I will do a painting, but this painting could take you like months to complete. Or you're saying, okay, I need to do some sculpting and the clay, and then you got to find a kiln.
Quilting can take forever.
Knitting,
Yeah.
like even that, knitting and crocheting takes a while. But to create something in one day, and the wow factor is incredible. The wow, people don't believe that you do it.
Oh, no.
No, and all it takes is something so simple as posting it in social media. And people will be like, hey, did you make that? Oh yeah, I made it. I made it in one day. They go, how'd you do that? Like, what is that? And that just starts generating, and then people start asking, who'd you take it from, etc. So I'll give you another story. My personal story of how I was introduced to Paverpol. It's actually kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So I saw a statue that was posted by my former sister-in-law, and I kept asking her for 2 years, what is that? How did you make that? What is that? And she goes, oh, it's just some t-shirt. Okay, so for 2 years, she wouldn't tell me where she was taking the courses. She wouldn't tell me how it was made. So after 2 years, I finally got out of her, oh, it's a fabric hardener and it's made with t-shirts. So yours truly quickly Googled. Yeah, Googled it. You know, fabric hardener, t-shirt. Poof.
You found it.
I found something. And I found that my first class was actually in Niagara Falls.
Oh.
So, like, I got into that car 2 weeks later. I got in that car and I took my first course, and that's how I started.
Everything started.
Yeah. But again, I was working full time, and so what I did was I actually, after I got my CPI, I actually taught on the weekends. And so I may not have taught like every single weekend, but I did teach at least once a month.
Nice.
And what happened was, I started off with 2 students just to get the interest going, and then I went to like 4, and then I went to 5, and the largest class I ever had in an art gallery was about 12, but I have taught in high schools.
Nice.
So, you know, one of the high school teachers saw what I was working on, and she said, can you come in and do a class with the graduating class? And so what happened was I actually did do that, and a lot of the kids used their statues as part of their portfolio, the art portfolio, to get into college and university.
Oh, how nice.
So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
And there are many opportunities if we think about, besides teaching in your own studio, like you said, you can go to high schools. There's continuing ed in almost every university. You have the guilds, right? There are many guilds that where this fits, like surface design, fiber spinning, weaving guilds. They all kind of fit for you if you want to start promoting what you do. So many, and like you said, it serves everybody. But I've seen many times with interviews that people that decided to retire, especially baby boomers, the last thing that they want is to stop, right? So then it's the perfect segue for them. Let's start giving some classes, getting the word out about what is possible with that.
Yes, well, and the thing is, it's when it comes to that time, you hear it a lot. A lot of people, as they're starting to wind down a little bit, they're looking for that extra something else to do. And the certification gives them that designation, and that people can take courses from them knowing that they have been trained properly. Properly be able to do that, like learning how to do the infrastructure with the base, etc. But at the same time also, a lot of people are, as I've said from before, are looking for that something extra, but people that are retiring or getting close to retiring, or doing 50%, they're going hybrid, half and half. What is happening is a lot of people right now are going back to their art space. Yeah, you hear it all the time, now that I'm going to retire, I'm going to focus on my photography. I'm going to focus on my painting. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. This takes it one step further, the certification, that you can continue to do that, but knowing that that you're certified, you can take that extra opportunity to now teach properly.
Yes, exactly.
Right, yeah.
By the way, when we talk about the certification itself, it starts with this, right?
Absolutely.
What is this ugly thing here? that you love so much.
I do love
Hi,
this.
everybody. Hello.
I love it.
I'm the beginning.
Yeah, this is so important. I mean, some people go like, how do you even make that, right? But this armature is what we start off with, just to learn how to make. Now, this is so inexpensive to make because this is 12 gauge solid copper core electrical wire. Okay, inexpensive to make. You probably have this in your house. You just don't know that you have this in your house.
But don't go breaking the walls, right? It's someplace else.
Yeah, don't go breaking the walls and don't rip out the cords in your lamps or anything like that. But this is what we start off with. And then we teach. I'll get you to hold on to that, Shahar. And then we teach to take it to this form.
Wow, but I'm not a sculptor, Andrea.
Oh, but you know what? If you take a course in a workshop with a certified Paverpol instructor, they will take you from this to a beautiful final piece.
Oh, look at that.
Like this.
Okay. Amazing. It's hard to believe, though,
that
if you don't have any prior courses in art, that you can get to that.
It's really quite amazing that you can do that. And the other thing is, this is just a simple beginner piece.
Look at this piece.
And this is just what I call an introduction to Paverpol. And this is actually a design by Annette of Orange Wire Art. This is one of hers.
Orange?
Yeah, Orange Wire Art. And all I did was, this was just some Paverpol, some tin foil, which I've left so people can see, as well as some rocks inside. And that's it. That's it. And you know what? You know how long this took me to make? Half a day.
Wow.
So, I mean,
That's
how
amazing.
many people can...
It's a gorgeous piece.
Right. So think about it. If you're a certified Paverpol instructor, you know that this only takes half a day to make. And then what you do is you just find a studio, or even in your own basement or one of the spare rooms, and you can actually teach this. And I mean, people will just come in and
crazy.
just
I mean, they take this home and show to the family, and they go, I can't believe you never did anything. Maybe you did some scrapbooking, right?
Yeah.
So it's a one great way to find your inner voice and how to present yourself. Now, tell me what exactly entitles the certification. So I will learn how to create human figures, proportionally correct,
Absolutely right.
Even if I didn't have any experience with any type of sculpting. That is really not relevant for this.
Right.
What else do I learn during certification?
One of the big things that you do learn about is the infrastructure to make sure that everything is not only atomically correct, but at the same time that nothing falls. Okay, that's one thing. People can make this and you can pat it up and do whatever with it. And that is, by the way, this is just simply tinfoil. Okay, this is tinfoil, and it's very, very hardy. I mean, it doesn't rust, it doesn't do this, it doesn't mold. Like, tinfoil is amazing, and it's inexpensive. So everybody has tinfoil. I don't know anybody that doesn't have tinfoil at home. Like, I just don't know anybody that doesn't have tinfoil at home. And it's so forgiving too. Tinfoil is incredibly forgiving, because if you don't like it, you just take it off.
Rip it off,
Yeah. So for a student, when they're working that way, and when you're working with a student, they're not intimidated that way. Because think about it, if you're working with a student and you're teaching them to paint, or they're working with clay or something else, it's very intimidating when it doesn't work properly. And it can
Especially
get
at the beginning.
Yeah, and it can get very expensive. The beauty of it is being able to teach something like this is, if you don't like it, just rip it off, take it off. It doesn't matter. And it's so inexpensive. So you're not wasting anything. And so easy for a student, if they decided to, that they can go home and you can actually just work on it and practice by yourself. But as a certified Paverpol instructor, you will be able to guide your student from beginning to end on how to do this. And the fact that I have to tell you, the fact that you show them this in the beginning, and then halfway through the class, it looks like this, they're already
already a wow
astonished.
moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
you've already won.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as an instructor, they go from this to this, you've already won. You know what I mean? It's in the sense that they can't believe. The person that said, oh, I'm not an artist, that came in, they've got it to this point. Like, and they're surprised at themselves that they got it to this point. Like, if you were able to take this home, I mean, I think a lot of people will be just, they'll be pretty happy taking this home because they said, oh, look, I made a figure from this to this. So it's really rewarding that way. And that really helps from a certification perspective because people do come back, right? Because you as an instructor have taken them from point A to point B. And now you're going to show them how to, you know, create a product, you know, a piece of art that can stay outdoors. So if they want to do garden art, you can stay outdoors.
Which is a big selling point.
Yes.
Right? Because it's the one product that you can actually get aluminum foil and turn into a garden piece in half a day.
In half a day.
Right? And it will last years, right? And
Years.
you live in a country with extreme temperatures, as we do here. So you have very harsh winters, we have very harsh summers, and they're just fine, right?
They are just fine. I mean, the larger ones that I have made, most of us have made up in Canada, we always make herons. Herons, the big heron, and I believe Curious Mondo
Yes,
has.
it's in my house.
Yes, but you also have a workshop on it too. Yes,
I
it's
do.
one of the workshops that you
Yeah.
have. So with that project, you'll probably see all of us who are certified Paverpol instructors. We will all have at least one, if not two, in our garden, and we have left them out for years. So me personally, I've got 3 outside. And they have been outside in the garden for at least 7 to 8 years.
And this is a huge marketing and selling point. Now, for me, the wow factor with the heron is that, again, you can create a life-size sculpture, and we've seen not only with the heron, but even with figures, a life-size sculpture in an easy way and in an expensive way. Because when we think about, okay, maybe I could give classes and everything, you're going to make the pieces, the investment really is minimal compared to other projects that you could tackle in other mediums, correct?
That's correct. But also the investment that is minimal is time. Because a lot of people
Good.
don't have time to
Good.
do that, right?
You're smart.
And it's hard to put a dollar on somebody's time. So that heron, that big heron, is one of the most in-demand courses for me.
Wow,
okay.
nice.
And I call her the queen of herons, which is Gwen Rousseau. She's one of the CPIs up in Canada. And she is constantly teaching this class, and that's one of the highest demands. So with that class, basically, you know, as a CPI instructor, there is some prep work involved, but once your students see the prep work that's involved, they are just astonished. So if anybody goes, oh, you know, I don't want to pay the money for it, once they see it, they
it's
will,
worth it.
it's without a question.
Yeah.
And it is less expensive than if you went out and bought one of that quality. Okay, so with that, I mean, the investment is your time, as in the CPI, to create the armature for it. That is an investment of your time, but it's also, I mean, it's just a couple of T-shirts, 2 or 3 large T-shirts, and your students would just need to spend a day with you. Some instructors teach it in 1 day. I happen to teach it in a day and a half, right? But it all depends on the instructor. So it's up to you how you want to gauge your time. And then in 1 day, the wow factor is incredible. I mean, I still have people asking me when I am going to have my next course. It constantly, and then it's referrals after referrals. I've even had a lady come up to me and say, I really want to make this. I want to do it up in my cottage. Do you think we can do it up in my cottage? And I go, well, I need a big studio for you and your 8 friends to do this up at your cottage. And she said to me, oh, but Andrea, I think we can do it like in the garage. But then she said, oh yeah, but I got flies running around. I said, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. The best way to do it, but still, like, they're asking. So, and they will automatically come to a CPI because who knows how to make it right and properly, that it's going to withstand,
Right, exactly.
for the next 10, 20 years, it's going to be a certified.
You don't want to have failure at this point.
No.
Now, for the person getting the certification, so she will have the opportunity, of course, of giving the courses. And like you said, you start small with 2 people, but the groups naturally grow, especially because you can make family reunions, so everybody's learning and everything. They can sell the pieces.
Yes.
And they can sell the products as well.
They can sell the products as well.
So in one meeting, you actually have 3 opportunities of different streams of revenue right there.
Right there.
Right? Which should have anybody thinking. I know situations are very different in Canada and the US, but we are in a moment where we are facing inflation, we are facing uncertainty, we are facing the not knowing the future. And it's good for you to know that you have something that you can apply at any point in time and create revenue as you need, right?
Absolutely.
Or make, like with the retirement, make this your new road where you can get passionate about something and do it every day, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And even for myself, I was working full time with 2 kids, etc., but I still did it at least once a month.
Weekends, yes, yes.
So I did. Yeah.
So I think it's a no-brainer that once you get to know Paverpol, your next step is really getting the certification so you can start teaching and get more people passionate about that. I know it's Andrea's mission as well as mine to get the word out about this, because we've seen every single day, and she told you one story of many that she has on how it impacts and changes people's lives. So how do you get your certification? If you're in the US, you go to paverpolamerica.com. If you are in Canada, you go to paverpolcanada.com. Any other country, go to paverpol.com, click on distributors, and they are going to get a list of people that can help you. Do look for them. They know what they are talking about. They have been through the same process, and they can really impact your life, and then you can impact the life of a lot of people. Isn't that a good mission to have in life?
It's amazing.
Yes,
It's amazing.
amazing.
Now, the other thing that I didn't mention, but we talked about it, is the fact that it's also the government, like the libraries and communities,
Oh yeah,
centers.
you have so many opportunities.
There's so many opportunities that they ask for courses as well too. And for those courses, they don't want just anybody. They want a certified Paverpol instructor to come in and do it. Like, you wouldn't hire somebody off the
you
streets.
don't want the liability on that. And like you said, some senior centers. I mean,
I've done that.
Once you get the word out, you're going to get bombarded with offers to give class. So even if you don't have a specific space in your home, that is not an obstacle. That's important to have in mind.
Yeah, it's not an obstacle. The trick really is you got to get out there, but it's so much fun because if you enjoy meeting people and talking to people, you go to one of these Christmas shows. I mean, family comes, your neighbors come, and you get to chat and socialize, but at the same time, you really get an opportunity to talk about what you're doing. And I have to tell you that one of the biggest things that really sells really, really well is if you do a little demo.
Oh, yeah.
So if you schedule a little bit of time to say, okay, from between this time to this time, I'm going to do a demo, they will come and they will look. Yeah. So I'll give you one quick story. I was doing a demo, I was scheduled to do a demo at the art gallery. And what happened was, I was surprised that like 8 people showed up, and this it wasn't even well publicized. And 8 people showed up, and they were just gathered around me. And they were watching me intensely. And they were saying, that's it? That's all you do? And you can get it to that point? I said, absolutely. And they all stood there and looked at me and goes, yep. And then, guess what?
Yep.
I saw them at the next couple of classes I had, but they just stood there and they just went, yep, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wire, aluminum foil, some t-shirt, and you can end up with something gorgeous as this, even not having any experience with art before. So that's what the certification can do for you. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Yes, let's go give some classes, right?
Absolutely.